It might not look like much, but I'm standing on the border that divides an ancient country and defines two modern ones. Up until 1945, this was all Korea. But now, over there lies the communist state of North Korea, and I'm standing in the democratic capitalist South. In between are over 1 million troops. This is the most heavily armed border in the world. Ironically, the 4-kilometre strip in the middle is called the Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ. The troops are actually on either side of it. It stretches for 250 kilometres, from the Yellow Sea in the west to the Sea of Japan in the east, severing old Korea in two. At Panmunjom, tourists can get a taste of life on the front line. The tour lasts about half a day and is led by military guides who explain the meanings of the key sites. Here in the Dora Observatory, they have a map of the area around DMZ. You get a real sense of this no man's land between north and south. And it's this area that's really defined the country I've come here to visit. Without it, there wouldn't be a South Korea, a country that more than anything owes its existence to the influence of the West. And just what that influence has been is one of the things that I'm here to find out. It's most pervasive in the South Korean capital, Seoul. You can't visit South Korea without spending some time in this sprawling, vibrant city that is very much a product of the past 60 years. 11 million people hustle and bustle here, in a metropolis that's primarily noise and neon. It's all about height. Construction booms, on and off since the 1960s, have anchored Seoul to the sky. By day, Insadong, with its endless stores and boutique shops, attracts the arty set and is a favourite with tourists. Whilst at night, Seoul illuminates itself to life and offers a completely different experience. It's edgy Hongdae that draws the revellers to what's widely regarded as the best nightlife in the city. History buffs are more likely to dive into one of the capital's 5 palaces. For 6 centuries, from the 1300s onwards, these were the seat of government of the Joseon dynasty. What we see today are actually scaled-down replicas of the originals that failed to survive the city's tempestuous past. Gyeongbokgung is the biggest, and most definitely a must-see for any visitors. An hour's flight south lies Gyeongju, the ancient capital. There are more temples, rock carvings, paintings, Buddhist monuments, palace ruins and castles here than anywhere else in South Korea. And this is only a fraction of the wealth of Gyeongju in its heyday. The city's most impressive feature is a 15-hectare park filled with these vast, strange-looking hills that are actually ancient burial mounds known as tumuli. There are 23 of them, dating back to the mid-1st century, and it's here that many of the Shilla rulers were buried. The Shilla dynasty originally believed in shamanism, a world inhabited by spirits and evil demons. But it wasn't long before they introduced Buddhism, which alongside Confucianism continues to influence the daily life of South Koreans. This is one of the oldest and most visited temples in Korea. The South Korean government rated as #1 on their historical attractions list, and in the mid-90s it was made a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's known as Bulguska, or Temple of the Buddha Land. This is a masterpiece of the golden age of Buddhist art. All the stone bridges, stairways and pagodas are original. In fact, there are no less than 7 national treasures dotted around the site. These 2 staircases are known as the 4 bridges. Strange maths, I know. They lead up to the world of Buddha. I think he's going to be kept quite busy today. The place is crawling in school children. 안녕하세요! Jeju is famous for its raw fish, as you'll see at restaurants across the island. But the fish fades into insignificance on any table compared to the accompaniment. This is kimchi, and if you're going to visit South Korea, you'd better get used to it. Koreans eat around 40 pounds of it per person per year. And you'll see it in every restaurant, even if you're ordering pizza. It's basically side dishes of fermented vegetables. The Koreans believe it's so healthy and they're so proud of it. They're even setting up a government body to promote it around the world. It's growing on me, but it's definitely an acquired taste. It's never quite clear with kimchi exactly what it is. I'm guessing that might be some sort of cabbage. It's okay, it's all right. There are actually over 180 types of these cold little side dishes. Very spicy. Oh. I might give that one a miss. As on many volcanic islands where the water streams through the porous rock, Jeju-do has its fair share of stunning waterfalls. This one is 23 meters high and is said to be the only one in Asia that falls straight into the sea. The rock has very thoughtfully formed some good photo opportunities. This is Jusangjoli. When the lava hit the water, it froze into these amazing symmetrical pillars. It kind of reminds me of Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland. And now, it's one of Jeju's biggest tourist draws. The lava came from Halasan, the towering watchman of the island. At 1,950 meters, it's the highest peak in the country. I've reached the end of my trip and my head's buzzing with all the new experiences I've had. You know, it seems ironic that, thanks to the news, a lot of Westerners might feel they know more about the secret state of North Korea than the democratic open one here in the south. What I've found is a country that's transformed itself with a huge energy over the last 2 or 3 decades. The Hermit Kingdom is opening up, and it's perhaps surprisingly tourist-friendly to travel around. Sure, there are some challenges, language, customs, food, but if you're the sort of tourist that relishes that, there's a lot to get excited about. You might even find you develop a taste for kimchi.